Hello, Walton Wildcats. I'm Emma Black.
I'm Giselle Harris. Welcome to the 5th episode of Locker Talk. Now, for the first time listeners, that should be here 5 episodes ago, what is our podcast Locker Talk all about? Well, Emma, tell our friends a little bit about Locker Talk.
Oh, sure, Giselle. Our podcast is a fun-filled voice-over audio conversation. Our focus is to learn something about an individual. Do you have a special talent or a cool pet or what? That individual could be you. If you're interested in being on our podcast, we would love to see and get to know you. Please contact AGROF at k12ireland.org if you're interested.
Here with us today, we have Miss Bodine, but today she goes by Coach Bodine.
Hello, Coach Biden. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, ladies. How are you?
I'm good.
And I'm great.
Glad to hear it. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us.
Well, let's jump right in. So, Coach Bodine, you know how much Emma and I love icebreakers. So today's icebreaker is, if you had to play a sport professionally, what would it be?
That's a tough one. I think I'd have to go with something that kept me on the ground. And I think I would go with a professional skeet shooter or clay pigeon shooter.
Yeah.
So typically, the professional shooters are different levels of things, but I would specifically like to go for clay pigeons or skeet, which are those little orange discs that fly through the sky, either from a thrower or you can throw it. It's kind of like a frisbee, but made of clay. So when you shoot it and it shatters and lands on the ground, it eventually biodegrades into the earth.
Wow.
I had no clue that was a thing.
Yep.
Me neither.
It's a thing, and you can definitely be a professional at it. So,
Is it like frisbee golf?
but with a gun.
Clay. Oh, with a gun. Oh. Well, Miss Bodine, tell us a little bit about yourself, overall, and coaching Bodine.
Oh gosh. Okay. So let's see. Well, I'm 26 years old. I am a health and PE teacher at Walton Middle School. I grew up in Scottsville, Virginia. I actually went to Walton Middle School for my 8th grade year, and I went to Monticello High School for my entire high school career. Let's see. Over the pandemic, I got 2 more dogs, so I now have 3 dogs. And I sold my first home that I bought out of college and bought a fixer-upper. And so now I am living life with 3 dogs and in a constant state of renovation at my house. So that's just a little bit about me. And yeah, coaching-wise, I've been coaching since I was in college and have enjoyed every minute of it.
So we know you are the varsity coach for the field hockey team at Monticello. The girls have opened up their season with a win against Western. Tell us a little bit about field hockey.
Gotcha. So field hockey is an awesome sport. I actually refused to play it when I was younger until my mom convinced me to in high school. But that's a story for a different question down the road. As for field hockey in general, it is a weird combination of like soccer and ice hockey, and you put it all together and that makes field hockey. It's a super fun sport to get active. It's very fast paced, and it's great. I absolutely love it. And we're glad that you all have decided to join us as our 7th grade managers, learning the game.
Yes, we love it.
What is your favorite thing about coaching?
Oh, my favorite thing about coaching is definitely, it's twofold. So on one side, I absolutely love the girls. They are a fantastic group of kids who just truly love being out there, who love the sport and who love being around each other. So how can you not love going to be a part of that every day? And then the other side of it is Field hockey was actually my mom's sport. And so when I had the opportunity to become the head coach, I also brought my mom in as one of my assistant coaches. And so my mom and I get this cool opportunity to coach together and to learn together and challenge each other. And so it's a really different aspect of our mother-daughter relationship turned coach and co-coach, which is really fun to be a part of. And it's also even more hilarious to watch my dad come out and cheer for my mom and I running up the sidelines, and my dad to be cheering on all these girls that he has no idea who they are, but he's like, yeah.
So me and Emma both want to know, in field hockey, what is one rule that you think is just ridiculous?
Oh, Lord. So field hockey is a very defensive game with small moments of offensive play. And I think that one of the rules that they have made, that it has to come out of the circle on a penalty or a corner, really takes away the offensive play a lot and reduces the opportunities to score even more than it already has. So I think that's a little frustrating, but I wouldn't necessarily, I don't know that I would go as far as ridiculous, but I do think that it takes away the opportunities to score.
Switching over to more of Miss Bodine instead of Coach Bodine, how many years have you been teaching overall, and what do you like about it? And what has it been like?
It's a good question. So I am in my third year teaching. So this year is my third year. So technically like 2.5, 2 3/4 years. But this is my third year of teaching, and I really love it. This whole thing has been an entire journey, especially now with COVID. But I love being in the classroom. PE and health is definitely my passion, especially teaching kids about it, because one of my favorite things about the subject that I teach is when a kid looks at me and says, when am I ever going to use this? I'm going to be able to say to them every single day, because PE and health is the one subject that you take in school that you use it every single day of your life for the rest of your life. Whether you choose to use it correctly or not, doesn't matter. You still use it every single day. So I don't have to be in the tough position like math teachers where I have to tell them that they're going to use algebra every day, because I can't speak to that. But that's why I chose to do health and PE. And overall, it's been wonderful. I actually didn't want to teach middle school when I was coming through college. I would always say I would teach elementary or I would teach high school, but I was never gonna deal with middle schoolers. I was like, they're too crazy. And then I convinced myself, I was like, that's fine if you want to take middle school off the table, but you can't take it off the table until you've experienced it. So I made myself do a middle school student teaching placement in my graduate year of college while I was getting my master's degree. And I fell in love with the middle schoolers. I actually did my student teaching placement at Burley Middle School. And so I got to experience working with Mr. Lewis, who's our assistant principal now at Walton. So yeah, I worked with those middle schoolers. I fell in love with working with them. It was just a wonderful experience. And then I was like, oh my gosh, now all I want to teach is middle school. So came out of college, applied for middle school teaching positions, and ended up at Walton, which was the middle school I went to for 8th grade, and here we are.
Hey Wildcats, thank you for listening to our 5th episode of Locker Talk. And we thank Miss Bodine and of course Emma and Giselle for hosting this show. This is only part 1 of 2 parts of learning about Miss Bodine, aka Coach Bodine. Tune in next week to check out more about her. We'll see you then.